Quickly deploying and advancing an initial attack handline is the single most effective life-saving action a fire department can perform. Once fire spread and smoke generation have been checked by the prompt application of water, all remaining fireground operations become safer and more routine. This video will illustrate techniques and procedures to help ensure your success in performing this most important bread and butter operation.
There's an old fire chief saying, "The fire goes as the first line goes." It's crucial that the Nozzle team advancing the initial attack handline understands the vital importance of their task and the techniques required for its successful completion. Ideally, the initial attack handline will be advanced by 3 or 4 firefighters under the supervision of an officer. This is rarely the case, however. As few as 2 firefighters may be responsible for advancing the first handline into the fire area. When fire areas are small, such as in most private dwellings, 2 firefighters can often get the job done. In the case of larger fire areas, additional firefighters will be needed on the first handline to ensure the success of its critical mission. Let's begin by outlining the positions of the Nozzle team members. The first firefighter on the handline is assigned to operate the nozzle and is simply called the Nozzle man.
The Nozzle man should be a capable and experienced firefighter with a can-do attitude. In the absence of an officer, the Nozzle man sets the pace for the handline advance, decides when to open and close the nozzle, and where to direct the stream.
The second firefighter on the handline is called the backup man. The job of the backup man is grunt work, pure and simple. He helps resist nozzle reaction forces, so the Nozzle man can manipulate the nozzle and direct the stream with greater ease. Without a competent backup man, the advance of the first handline will be slowed considerably. The backup man should be close to the Nozzle man as the line is advanced, preferably in physical contact. If the Nozzle man moves the stream to the right, the backup man must swing the hose to the left. If the Nozzle man moves left, the backup man must move right. If the Nozzle man directs the stream up toward the ceiling, the backup man must keep the line low behind the Nozzle man. The backup man should also strive to keep the hose behind the Nozzle man as straight as possible. The Nozzle man and backup man must work in unison. The backup man should constantly be aware of what the Nozzle man is trying to accomplish and should anticipate the Nozzle man's next move.
One additional point. It is difficult for a Nozzle man focused on directing the stream to be fully aware of all the dangers and changing conditions around him.
In the absence of a supervising officer, the backup man becomes the eyes of the Nozzle team and should be alert for fire rolling overhead, side rooms involved in fire, and other hazards that could trap or injure the Nozzle team. If a third firefighter is available, he assumes the position of Doorman. His function is to feed hose to the Nozzle man as the advance is made. Normally, he should be positioned either at the first hose bend behind the nozzle or at the door to the fire area. But his position must remain fluid and is dictated by the size of the fire area and the number of bends and turns in the handline. Remember, the Nozzle man sets the pace for the advance, so the Doorman should not push the Nozzle man by feeding the hose too fast. Since the Doorman rarely will be able to see the Nozzle man due to smoke and physical obstructions such as doors and walls, a good technique is to feed enough hose so a bow is created in the line. When this bow straightens out, it is an indication that the Nozzle man is advancing the line. The Doorman should then feed more line until another bow is created. The process is repeated as necessary. An alternative method is to fold the charged line over on itself and create a loop, which can literally be rolled down a hallway or even upstairs. When staffing levels are light and there's no one available to assume the position of the Doorman, use of the loop method can prove advantageous. The backup man creates the loop and then moves into position behind the Nozzle man. At first floor and basement fires in private dwellings, the handline should be charged before advancing inside. Some departments charge the line on the interior stairs for second floor or attic fires. Others are more comfortable with charging the line outside, which reduces the potential for kinks and permits a rapid and continuous advance up the stairs. At multiple dwellings, the line is usually charged just outside the entrance to the fire apartment in the public hallway. An exception is when the fire originates in the stairway or when fire is extending into the hall or stairway through an open apartment door. In this case, the line should be charged on the landing below and advanced up the stairs. When and where the line gets charged at commercial building fires varies with the size and construction of the building and the type of occupancy.
In every case, charge the line in a safe location, and under no circumstances should you enter the fire area without water.
While waiting for the line to be charged, final preparation should be made for the sometimes difficult advance to the seat of the fire. The nozzle man should kneel on the nozzle to ensure the shutoff does not get kicked open by a passing firefighter. All members of the nozzle team should learn to don their SCBA facepiece and pull up their protective hoods with gloves on. Gloves are easily lost in the dark or in a hallway which rapidly fills with smoke once the door to the fire area is opened. Helmets should be placed between the legs or under a bent knee. A misplaced helmet can result in a significant delay. The advance should not be initiated until all members of the nozzle team are prepared. In the absence of an officer, the nozzle man should ask each firefighter if he is ready to go. All members of the nozzle team should be on the same side of the handline. Remain low. Use the door and wall as a protective shield against venting heat and fire once the door is opened. As soon as the nozzle team is set for the advance, the officer should call for water via his portable radio. If there is no officer present, the nozzle man should be radio equipped. He will use the radio to call for water, to inform the incident commander of the nozzle team's progress, or lack of it, and to call for help in an emergency situation. The radio also is critical for receiving information from the pump operator about water supply status, particularly in cases where the initial attack begins off booster tank water and switches to hydrant water or another continuous source.
If a fog nozzle is used, the nozzleman must check to ensure that the nozzle is in straight stream position. In straight stream position, the pattern adjustment ring is rotated all the way to the right as you hold the nozzle. A straight or solid stream should always be used for interior attack to avoid violent disruption of the thermal balance with its accompanying loss of visibility and increased risk of steam burns.
Once the handline is charged, it must be bled of entrained air. The nozzle should be left open until water is flowing and the telltale sputtering of trapped air has ceased. Some nozzlemen prefer to crack the nozzle open as they await water, thus allowing the air to bleed off slowly. Others simply wait until the line is charged before bleeding it. It really is a matter of preference. With the line charged and bled, it is vitally important for a member of the nozzle team other than the nozzle man to check the line for kinks. If a doorman is present, he should perform this function. The pump operator can often check for kinks in the vicinity of his apparatus. No matter who is assigned this task, its importance cannot be overstated. One or more 90-degree kinks in a handline will cause a dramatic reduction in flow and increases the risk of burns to the nozzle team. When solid stream tips or 75 psi fog nozzles are used, the potential for kinks is greater due to the low pressures involved. This makes the job of chasing kinks even more important. Pump operators should never attempt to straighten kinks hydraulically by raising the engine RPMs. Here are some important considerations. Chock open all doors that the handline must pass through. Even non-self-closing doors may close if bumped by a passing firefighter or his tools. Chocking doors open permits a more rapid advance of the handline and increases operational safety. It also allows for an inrush of fresh air to replace the smoke and heated products of combustion being displaced by the stream. Storm and screen doors that will not stay open should be removed using a Halligan or similar tool. A door that closes on an uncharged handline makes an efficient but dangerous hose clamp. Avoid obstructing doorways. Doorways must be clear for efficient air movement. After a room fire is darkened down, move to one side of the doorway, either outside of the room or just inside of it.
Another reason to keep doorways unobstructed is that any firefighter inside who wants out in a hurry probably will not stop to say excuse me as he leaves boot marks on your forehead.
Consider using a 100-foot length of hose as the lead length in the handline stretch. This eliminates the one coupling that notoriously catches on stair treads, newel posts, door jambs, and furniture, impeding the progress of the line. When the nozzle team is ready to advance into the fire area, ventilation is required. This relieves pent-up smoke and gases and provides an outlet for the expanding steam created in the extinguishment process. Ventilation opposite the advancing nozzle reduces the chances of fire rolling over the heads of the nozzle team, aids in visibility, and helps maintain more tenable conditions. It is extremely important to time the ventilation with the charging and bleeding of the handline. Delayed ventilation can result in steam burns to the nozzle team. Premature ventilation can accelerate fire growth and extend the fire into uninvolved areas of the structure. Veteran nozzle men say that once the door to the fire area is open, the nozzle team should wait momentarily as escaping smoke and combustion gases light up or blow. After this brief pause, the nozzle man should maneuver into the best possible position from which to hit the fire, aiming the stream into the overhead in an effort to drive back the rolling flame front at the ceiling. The nozzle should be rotated rapidly in a clockwise motion or whipped side to side, striking as much of the ceiling as possible. With a straight stream or solid stream, the nozzle must be worked vigorously to ensure water distribution over the entire fire area. The nozzle can also be directed through the space between an open door and door jamb in an effort to hit more fire.
Always be alert for fire wrapping around behind you, as sometimes happens when there is a second opening into the fire area.
As the fire darkens down, the angle of the nozzle can be lowered and the stream directed at the heated solid fuels.
Sweep the floor periodically as you advance in order to reduce the potential for knee burns.
Even with bunker pants, the knee is susceptible to burns as the fabric is stretched tight over the knee joint and heat is readily conducted through to the skin. In addition to cooling embers and molten plastics, sweeping the floor may also push aside glass shards and hypodermic needles. When advancing a handline in a building under construction or in poor physical condition, move slowly and cautiously. Remember to sweep the floor. A change in the sound of the stream may indicate an opening lies ahead. Duck walk and extend one leg out in front, probing for holes, while keeping most of your weight on your back leg. The officer, if present, should remain mobile and use his light to find holes in the floor as well as other hazards. The nozzle man should maintain enough hose out in front so he's within an arm's length of the bail or handle of the shutoff. This allows for free movement of the nozzle and efficient water distribution over the fire. Some nozzle men prefer a pistol grip, others don't. With a 100 psi fog nozzle set to straight stream, a pistol grip can prove very helpful in resisting the nozzle reaction. On the other hand, a pistol grip can interfere with rapid nozzle movement because the firefighter's natural tendency may be to keep it close to his body. This should be avoided. By listening to the sound of the stream as the nozzle is directed out front and overhead, the nozzle man can tell if the water is hitting a wall or passing through an opening, perhaps a window, or a doorway to another room involved in fire. Finding a window opening is important and is done for two reasons. First, if an exposure is involved in fire, the stream can be directed across an alley or shaft to extinguish as much fire as possible. Second, the nozzle can be changed to a fog pattern and used to create an effective negative pressure vent, efficiently removing smoke and heated combustion gases from the fire area. Even a solid stream tip with the shutoff partially closed will move a significant volume of air. Here are some additional techniques to increase the safety and efficiency of any handline advance. Use the long reach afforded by a straight or solid stream to best advantage, especially when moving down a long hallway with fire traveling across the ceiling towards you, or when fire is exploding out the front door of a house and rolling under the porch roof. If the fire's location is not evident on arrival, or on opening the door to the fire building or fire apartment, move toward the area of greatest heat, all the while looking for the characteristic orange glow in the smoke near the ceiling. Listen for sounds of crackling and monitor radio reports from other firefighters. It's a good idea to turn your hand light off or direct it behind you so the hand light beam reflected off the smoke particles does not hide the fire's location. When using a nozzle equipped with a ball valve shutoff, open the nozzle all the way for maximum volume and effective stream reach. In many cases, the nozzle will be closed more often than it is open during a fire attack. Some fires allow for so-called hit and move tactics. Hit the fire, shut down, advance a little bit, and hit the fire again. Occasionally, the nozzle must remain open as the advance is made due to high heat conditions or a large volume of fire. This can be difficult and requires close coordination between the nozzle man and backup man.
Remember, the safety of the nozzle team is the primary consideration. So if the nozzle must stay open, keep it open and cool things down.
In the case of a cellar or basement fire, the nozzle team may have to advance down a narrow stairway through venting heat and smoke. For the nozzle team to avoid burn injury, the nozzle man and backup man must move down the stairs as quickly as possible. Heat conditions at the bottom, while severe, are much less punishing than at the top. Once the advance begins, the doorman must feed the line smoothly and restrain from pushing the nozzle man, which could cause him to trip and fall.
After the main body of fire is extinguished and the fire area relieved of smoke and gases, the work of the nozzle team is still not finished.
Ladder company personnel will be opening walls and ceilings, and the stream will be needed to wash down the bays and eliminate the potential for a rekindle. If the original nozzle team is fatigued, the incident commander should be prepared to supply fresh personnel, even if this requires calling back off-duty members or summoning mutual aid. Let's review the key points. At a minimum, every nozzle team requires a nozzle man and a backup man. The nozzle man and backup man must work closely as a team to ensure coordinated nozzle movements and a safe advance. All members of the nozzle team must stay low and to one side of the doorway to the fire area to help reduce the risk of burns. All members of the nozzle team should be positioned on the same side of the handline. The line must be charged outside the immediate fire area. After the line is charged, it must be bled of trapped air. Before starting the advance, horizontal ventilation is required to relieve the fire area of smoke and gases and to provide a release for the steam created during extinguishment. The nozzle man or officer should ensure that each member of the nozzle team is ready to advance and all personal protective equipment is in place. A straight or solid stream should be used to help maintain the thermal balance. First, direct the stream at the ceiling, moving the nozzle clockwise or side to side. As the fire darkens down, the angle of the stream can be lowered. The floor should be swept as the advance is made to reduce the potential for knee burns and other injuries. After all visible fire is extinguished, the line should be shut down. This allows any remaining pockets of fire to light up for subsequent extinguishment and permits the smoke to lift. To help remove heat and smoke from the fire area, a fog stream or coarse spray stream from a smoothbore nozzle can be directed out a window opening.
Much of what a nozzleman does is intuitive, based on experience gained through previous fires. When opportunities for fighting actual fires are rare, the only answer is training. Training frequently and realistically is essential for fireground success, and success in handling your bread and butter fires depends upon safely and efficiently advancing the initial attack handline.